Welcome to the Top Agent Podcast. We speak to top industry leaders in real estate and extract their insights to help you grow your business. This podcast is powered by Web for Realty, the leading provider in real estate marketing tools. As our way of saying thank you to our listeners, we're offering an exclusive 2-month free promo to the best IDX websites, CRM, and email marketing tools in the industry. Just go to topagentpromo.com to claim this exclusive discount, no strings attached. If you're looking to attract leads, build relationships, and close more deals, go to topagentpromo.com and get started. All right, I am very excited to introduce my next guest on the Top Agent Podcast. I'm speaking with Chastin J. Chastin is a serial entrepreneur who's on a journey of empowering the growth of real estate entrepreneurs nationwide. Chastin started off in real estate in 2014 as a broke solo agent. Today, he's the leader of the fastest growing real estate team nationwide. Chastin has millions of views on YouTube, and hundreds of thousands of agents rely on his insightful videos to gain knowledge on how to be successful in their own real estate careers. So, Chastin, pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So, let's jump into it. Just to get some context for the audience. Fastest growing real estate team nationwide. So, how many transactions or sales volume do you do in a given year?
Yeah, so last year we hit 104 transactions, expanded into 27 states, which was awesome, amazing. This year, definitely on pace. This year we're looking at probably around 135, 140. So we're in a crazy market here in my home market, which is Dallas. This is a crazy real estate market, so we'll see. All the numbers have just been surprising and kind of all over the place, but we're rocking and rolling.
That's amazing. That's incredible. So on pace to 135, 140 transactions. Incredible. Thanks so much for sharing that. Tell us a bit about yourself. How did you start out? Where you're from?
Sure. So I'm originally from Houston, Texas, but I lived over for a bulk of my life in Georgia, so Atlanta, just north of Atlanta. And me getting into real estate, honestly, I didn't have a real estate background or anybody in my family in real estate. Me and my college roommates at the time, we decided that we wanted to go and live off campus, right? And so one day we were walking around and we saw an advertisement on one of those light posts or whatever that was advertising 3 to 4 bedroom homes off campus. And they had a phone number. It was exactly what we were looking for, really. So I called the number and this lady had us meet her at this office. So we met with this older lady at this office. Turned out to be a real estate office. And so she's showing us properties on the screen there, and then we ended up hopping in her car. We went out and looked at a few places, and then we found one that we wanted. So we're starting to go down this process, and all we were talking about was like the rent and the deposits amount. But I was just bold. I said, how much are we gonna have to pay you for this service? And she was like, you don't have to pay me anything. I get paid by doing the actual transaction. And so after she said that, I was kind of like, wait, what? How does all this work? I was thinking it was a scam. I had never heard of anything like this. And so she started telling me, just kind of like how real estate works and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm sitting there like, wait a minute. I'm a young guy who's kind of popular on campus. We're really just wanting to move so we can throw better parties. I know a ton of people who probably want to move off campus. I can do this and just rack up money all day and night. And so from that conversation, I enrolled in real estate school the next week, and that started my journey.
Wow, yeah. That's amazing. I like that. So let's go back to that beginning for a second. So you started out, was that around like 2014?
Yeah, so when I visited her, it was more like 2012.
Okay.
2011. And my journey took a while to actually get into business. I ended up enrolling in that real estate school the next week. And I mean, I was acing and stuff. It was just easy for me compared to the other people that were in there because they were all older and I was in school. And when it came time, because I had to talk to people into letting me get on a payment plan because I couldn't afford to pay for the whole course up front. And so when it came time for me to do that second payment, well, I was out of money by then. And so I couldn't make that second payment and I had to drop out of real estate school. And I remember the day that I told the owner of the school that like hey, I got to drop out, but I'm going to come back once I save up some money. He said to me, "I hear that all the time and you're not coming back." Well, it was 2 years later, but I ended up moving to Texas, going back to real estate school, and that's what, I actually finished it that time because I could pay for the whole thing.
Wow. Okay. So that's incredible. So when you first started out, I guess in 2014, again, broke solo agent. That's only like 6, 7 years, call it. So it's not really a long period of time. So how did you blow up the way you did in a relatively short period of time? Like, can you talk about that?
Sure. So, I mean, first, I really had to understand and start working deals. Like, I had to do what it took to get those transactions closed. Now, keep in mind, I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know what it took or anything like that. So I came in with a completely open mind. Anything somebody told me to do, I did it. Like hop on these phones and cold call for 2 hours, I did it. Go out there, pass out flyers, I did it. And I also got on social media and started putting my business out there. And so it started out real rocky. Like my first year, I mean, I closed like 3 deals my first year, and they were at the end of my first year. And so it was very rocky my first year. But from all those things that I had did during that time that I didn't have any deals going on, they kind of had this snowball effect. So it started moving. I was getting more clients, getting more closings, and then it got to a point where I was too busy to do it myself. And so that's when I brought on my first assistant slash buyer's agent. And then he was just working with me on commission. He would only get paid whenever something closed. Um, from there, ended up hiring a real assistant, but I was sharing that assistant with another agent. So we were kind of splitting the costs of it. I was scared to just jump in. Um, from there, social media, my YouTube, everything like that was gaining traction. I was getting more subscribers, more views, and people were starting to ask me questions about real estate. I was starting to get clients from YouTube and all those places. And then eventually, like, it just gets to the point where you're just working, working, working. And I felt like I needed a new thrill. Like, I needed something to make me want to get up in the morning. And that's when I went and decided to start a team. And I started this team, and I felt like because of my nationwide influence or worldwide influence, I was able to make a bigger footprint than just here locally. So I ended up moving over to a brokerage that would allow me to do that, and that's where I've been for the last year and a half, and it's been growing very, very quickly.
Amazing, amazing. So there's a couple of things I'd love to unpack there. So starting off very rocky early on, 2, 3 deals in your first year. Um, at what point, like what made you gain traction to, just get more busy? Like, did you have a sphere of influence where you were working, a big network of people? Was it just like your online presence, just being consistent with that? Like, what was that thing that stuck that caused you to gain some traction?
Yeah, honestly, it came down to one day, really. Like one day where I had just like the ultimate mind shift, just awakening. I remember I was headed out. I had one listing. I had one listing at the time. I was heading out to go host an open house at this listing. which, mind you, I have been holding this listing open every single weekend since I got the listing. So I'm talking months at a time, Saturday and Sunday, from 4 hours each day. So this one particular morning, I was getting myself together, had put on my oversized suit that I had, and was about to walk out of the door. And as I was walking out the door, my electricity turned off because they had disconnected me. Nonetheless, I said, I'm still going to go out. I'm going to go sell this house today. So I get over there to the home. The first hour went by, nobody came in. The second hour went by, still nobody came in. And by that third hour, it just clicked in my mind that nobody was going to be visiting me. Um, I remember walking to the front door, and I could literally hear every single one of my steps as I walked. Like I could still hear it today. I remember walking to the front door and twisting the lock on the door. Even though my open house wasn't over, I closed that open house up, and I literally just fell to my knees and had a breakdown. Like, I'm talking bawling, crying, and I'm not even a crier, but I was having a moment right there, and it was at that moment where I was just like, why am I doing this? I'm completely broke. I'm not getting any traction in this business. My electricity's turned off. Like, why even do this? I at that moment felt like the ultimate failure. I told all these people that I was getting into real estate. I had moved across the country, so I didn't have a sphere of influence. I didn't have anybody. When I started, I mean, I barely even knew the streets. My view of real estate was a little skewed, I guess. And that was a big moment for me. I remember calling one of my family members, and all she said was, Chasing, get yourself together, get it together, you know, and and I don't know, those words were extremely powerful for me because it just told me, like, yeah, I got to get it together. I had already felt like I had come so far, and even though I hadn't sold anything, I felt like I had come so far. I dropped out of this real estate school, went back to real estate school, got the license, spent all my money, like, did all this stuff. I felt like I had came far. And so I started looking at all of this differently. I started looking at, actually, I stopped being so reactive to the business, waiting around for someone to tell me, Chaston, go call this person or go meet this person, and started being more proactive. Like, I mean, one big thing that I know today that I wish I could have told myself back then was that there are so many different ways you can make money in real estate. It's just about how hard you hustle. I got down to the point where I was literally standing outside of apartment complexes, right? Waiting for the people to walk out to see if they ended up signing there. And if they didn't, then I would help them find a rental somewhere else. Like doing that kind of stuff. So, you know, I just took it from like me trying to make or waiting around for this to happen to like me taking control. Yeah, social media definitely helped with that. At the time when I was doing social media, I wasn't doing it for business. I was just doing it because I'm a millennial and we get on social media for stuff. So I wasn't really thinking about it generating leads or business, but people were watching and people were seeing my struggles and what I was going through and how hard I was working. So yeah, my phone started ringing from it. I started getting more listings, and all of my stuff was face to face. Like it was just, hey, I don't know you, you don't know me, but trust me, I'm gonna get your home sold.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what it was for me. Nothing came easy.
That's amazing. I love that story. I love hearing inspiring stories like that, and appreciate you sharing that with us as well. Um, that's interesting. So you were documenting this along the way, the ups and downs on social media the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, and I wasn't getting too deep into detail as to,
Yeah.
me feeling like I'm failing because nobody wants to admit that, especially at that point. But I was documenting like, hey, this is my fourth month. I still don't have anything. I don't know what's gonna happen. But as I was documenting, I was hoping that someone would kind of hear my message. Like I made this one video talking about how much money real estate agents make because I felt like every single appointment I was going on, somebody was trying to cut my commission or something. So I was just like, let me just vent and make a video really talking about where this money goes because I'm not taking home as much money as y'all think I am. And I was just being authentic and yeah, like over time as it progressed, it sort of turned into now me teaching a little bit like, hey, here's where I was, here's what was going on, and this is what I did, and so now here's what happened type of deal. But yeah, I was documenting the whole time.
What channel were you using primarily? Was it YouTube?
Yep, YouTube.
Nice.
YouTube and
Um,
Twitter.
YouTube and Twitter. Okay. Are you still active on Twitter, or have you just mostly YouTube, Instagram?
No, I mean I still do some stuff on Twitter, not like I used to. Like I used to do 20 tweets an hour,
Wow.
or half hour, but I mean I was just going on there saying crazy stuff. But definitely YouTube. I'm very consistent with that, and I keep a presence going.
Yeah, no. So millions of views on YouTube. Was there a particular video that kind of like went viral or like made you get to that next leap or something like that?
Yeah, it was a video that I had released when I ended up leaving Keller Williams. So I started my career at Keller Williams, and then as I'm documenting, like I said, I made a video about why I left Keller Williams, and that did a pretty big spike in the videos. A lot of people were interested. I got a lot of hate for it though, not gonna lie, but but yeah, that was one video that I did that did really well. And then over time, what's so crazy about YouTube is videos that I've done years and years ago will randomly pop up and there'll be like huge spikes in them even though they're like so old. I mean, old looking, not HD camera, bad audio. So it's like I'll rush into my office and re-record that video like, hey, I want to give you the new version, you know. But yeah, it's funny how those algorithms work.
That's awesome. So by the sounds of it, starting out, like no sphere of influence, like you were just hustling. You were just trying different things, like standing outside of buildings. Like, were you doing door knocking, things like that, like everything, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean my extent of door knocking because I was big into open houses. Like even if I didn't have a listing, I was just randomly calling up agents to see if I can hold their homes open. So when I was doing that, I would go and door knock the neighborhood whenever I would have an open house coming, and yeah, that was pretty good for me. But when I say in my business, I kind of receive no handouts, and it's because my whole network of people and my whole network of past clients and clients, it was like I had to go and find those people. um it didn't get to a point till probably like 5 years into it for me that like my phone started ringing, just randomly, hey, I have a house to sell, and such and so. Everything was literally me meeting someone for the first time and using my scripts and doing what I thought I had to do to get that business, and that's how it built. Like that's how I became real big on volume because or units because nowadays I'm big on past clients and referrals. I mean, I really take care of my people. I send them gifts every single month to all of my past clients. I do client appreciation events, and so it keeps referrals coming in. And I'm glad I started doing that because that hasn't always been the case.
Yeah, no, for sure. So how big's your team, you said now?
Yeah, so right now my local home team here in Dallas is 9, 10 agents, and then I have 3 staff members, and then nationwide the network is 117 last time I
Wow.
checked, all
Wow.
within the last year. So
Uh, Incredible. And across how many states, you said?
27.
27.
It
Amazing.
may be 28 or 29 now, but including Hawaii, which is fun.
Nice. That's cool. Awesome. So yeah, so what I'm getting at, so just based on your experience, the hustle, the grind early on to today, what are like two or three things you do each and every day as part of your routine that, things that just help you, get to the next level, achieve your goals? Like, are there any like routines or any things you do daily?
Yeah, so I'm really big now into lists. Um, and I use the reminders app on my iPhone because I'm that person, like I think of a lot of stuff all the time. There's always some new idea that pops in my mind. And so I'm quick to open up that reminders app for any and everything, and I look at it many times a day, and that's what kind of keeps me going through the day. The way that my mind works is I know that even if I clear lists right now, probably in like the next 2 hours it's going to be full again, just because I've always thought of something. So I make it a habit of checking that not only daily but all through the day. Something that I'm very consistent with that I've been doing in my business for years is something called Power Hour. It's where for 2 hours, just uninterrupted, hitting the phones. Now, who I'm calling these days has changed a bit from who I used to call, but I still make sure that I am calling every single day and maintaining these relationships with people. Another thing that I do, which this may not be relevant for everybody, but I always try to give some value of some sort to the masses. So either me putting out a video on Instagram or putting something out on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, to where I can train somebody, tell somebody something that can make them do something different. And I'm not kind of really doing that for clout, you know. I'm not just doing that for a new follower or anything like that, but now it kind of feels like an obligation of mine. And I'll tell you, I don't feel good if I miss posting. Like I feel like I did nothing the whole day. It starts messing with my mind. All that kind of stuff. So those are three things that I do each and every day, um, to keep it going. I believe in the law of attraction. I believe in, when you put stuff out there, it'll come back to you. I give away a ton of free stuff, not only to, my YouTube community and following, but also to clients, like whether they want to work with me or not. Like I'm still giving stuff away because I believe that the more I give, the more I'll receive. So,
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I want to talk about, I like that power hour. So even today, every hour you set aside, you're calling. And that's the first thing I thought of too. Like, when you were doing that years ago, the people you were calling were different compared to today. So, in your position now, like, what are those calls like? Who are you calling? Like past clients, like just, business network stuff?
yeah, lots of past clients, lots of business people, because I'm big into business. I'm big into networking. Those calls alone have gotten me into places that I never would have even imagined. I do a lot of vendor calls, looking for people who are trying to grow their businesses too. Lenders, divorce attorneys, insurance agents, lawn care people, like you name it. I want to keep a big book of people, like no matter what industry they're in. I try to be that like connector person. So when I'm meeting with people, I'm like, oh, I gotta introduce you to such and such, or I want to make those links, in those types of deposits. I I still call leads, depending on where they came from, what's the price point, what area are they searching in, things like that. And then I have a VIP list. So I have this list of VIP. Some of them are past clients, some of them are just my favorite people. Some of them, they became a VIP just from an event that I went through, I mean, to. But every single Monday I call my VIPs, and there's 50 of them now. So, I really got to crank out those calls. And then I do coaching calls. So where I'm coaching other agents, in their businesses, whether they're my team members or they're just in my coaching program. I, I do those calls as well.
I love that. I love the part of like being that connector person. I think that just provides like so much hidden value that people don't even realize. Just being able to do that for people, I think that goes a long way. So, you help thousands of people, probably tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people through your content and videos, probably people who just consume your stuff. You have a team of almost 120 people now. I'm very curious to ask you, if you were to ask uh, every member of your team, what would you say is the greatest value that you provide to your team? What would they say?
I think just my authenticity, really. I don't BS anything. I don't sugarcoat much. I'm just like real. I talk about like the down and dirty stuff. I train in a way that is gonna get you very far in life, whether it's real estate or whether it's any other career. So even my following will tell you this. Like I'm just very authentic and real. Like I even released a book. It's called The Real Before the Estate, right? And that book is literally everything that I wish I would have known before I started in real estate. And and it's all that stuff that nobody talks about, that maybe if I would have known beforehand, I probably wouldn't have gotten into this business. So just me being open and honest. I don't I don't really know anything else. Like I mean, I'm great at what I
I
do,
like
but
it.
they'll probably tell me just my
No, that's awesome. That's
yeah.
amazing. The book I wanted to ask you about that. I love that title, by the way. The real before the estate. That's cool. What's the book about? Like, how'd that come about?
Yeah, I mean, it came about with me just wanting to provide people a different perspective about this business um, than maybe they have received before. We have a very high failure rate in real estate. I mean, tons of people come into the business and tons of people leave the business. And so the goal with my book is to give you some of that information up front that you're probably going to experience and it's going to cause you to leave the business, so you can decide whether you want to go down this road before you invest all this time and money, especially because everybody, like the whole narrative around real estate is, oh, you can make so much money, oh, it's so easy, oh, you're going to do great, and then you get in here and it's a totally different story. And so that's what I wanted to do in the book. And I even tell people in the book, I say, after reading this, you're either gonna go into this career and be really great, or you're gonna decide to do something else and be really great at that. And then I said, whatever way you go, that was my goal. Like,
Yeah.
you can call it negative, you can call it, whatever, but I'm not that cheerleader yet until I know that somebody is truly invested in this. They know what they're getting themselves into. They're not being lied to or sold a dream that may not even be for them.
I like it. That's amazing. Um, Question I have. So a lot of listeners to this podcast, obviously agents, look for more like, tactical, practical advice. So, um, obviously you do an amazing job of attracting, new agents and just building your network of agents and just business people from around the country, if not the world, with your content, YouTube and Instagram and everywhere else. But on the other side of that, like what are some of the ways you add new clients to your database? Any marketing strategies that are working for you right now?
Sure. So the monthly gifting program is working very well. So every single month, in the first week of the month, we send everyone a gift. So every past client, VIP, they get a gift. Now these gifts are not expensive gifts. They are cheap things that you can purchase in bulk on Amazon, and then we'll attach a card to it that says something funny or something. So as an example, I may send a pair of sunglasses with a card that says, "Don't be blinded by another real estate agent's lies. We'll always be honest with you." So we send those out every single month. Sometimes they do have a little theme to them. So in Valentine's Day, we'll send out like Valentine's candy or those sweetheart things with the message, "We love your referrals, and as much as we love you." Something super corny, and and I say that we send out cheap gifts just because of the frequency that we do them. Okay, this has been. I'm going to tell you what this has done. Not only does it get us referrals, but it also gets the people who are receiving the gifts marketing for us on social media, which we don't tell them to do this, but every single month there's a few posts that go out like, haha, look at this, look what we got from our realtor, and then it kind of creates this viral effect of people calling us and being known for this. With every client who we close a property on, we give them free moving supplies. So we give them boxes, we give them tape, everything like that, and we throw them a housewarming party. Okay, here's the deal with the housewarming party. It's completely sponsored by you, being the agent. Okay, you're gonna get your clients contact lists. So everybody who they want to be invited, you're gonna get that information. Mail them an actual invitation. I know everybody's doing Facebook invites and everything like that, but still mail them a physical invitation. You have their address. At that event, you're hosting that event. So you are there with your assistant, with your team members, whoever. You're there mingling, talking to people. Okay? You're going to be put into the spotlight. It happens at every single one of our housewarming events. The homeowner's like, hey, meet my realtor, meet my realtor. They're the ones doing this. We don't even put out any marketing materials. We don't do anything like that. It happens just naturally. Great referral source. You're going to follow up with all those people during your power hour. You're going to follow up with them and see where they are in their journey, who they know. I'm going to give you the formula for power hour right quick, okay? Monday through Friday. On Mondays, you're going to call your VIP people. Okay, so those are your favorite people, your VIP people you wouldn't mind sitting down, having lunch, dinner with them, because honestly, there's people that you don't even want to sit through a whole dinner with. Okay, but these are not your VIPs. So you're going to call them on Mondays. Tuesdays, you're going to call your current clients. So anybody who you're working a deal with, you're going to call them on Tuesdays, and you're going to provide them with an overall update. Okay, so in order for you to provide your client with an overall update, you need to make sure that you reach out to the lenders, the appraisers, the title companies, attorneys, whoever is involved in it, so that you can give your client an update. This is going to help you out too, because you're hearing directly from these people what's going on, and there's not all these mixed messages everywhere. Okay, Wednesday are going to be your new and your old leads. Okay, so old leads, people who were like 6-8 months ago who said that they would be ready in the summer, or who you contacted last year and they said, oh, give me a year. You're calling those old leads. And then new leads. Anybody who's come in the last 30 days is still considered a new lead. So I'm still calling them just like they came in 5 minutes ago. On Thursdays, that's going to be for your past clients. You're calling them, you're just checking in on them, seeing how everything is doing. When you're calling your past clients, you're not trying to get a deal out of them, okay? That's going to happen naturally. You're not calling to ask them for a referral. You're just calling to check up on them. Think of your past client as being somebody who you're dating and they just went ghost on you, because that's what happens in most real estate transactions. Once you close, they don't hear from you again, and you spend all this time having this relationship with them, and then now you just broke up with them and didn't call them. So keep that relationship going. Okay, and then on Friday, those are for your vendors and referral partners. So those are the people who you're going to be calling because of their business that they're in, or because they've sent you referrals, or you're trying to create a referral relationship. It's a great day to call builders, see what inventory they have, and you let that last for 2 hours. But Chastin, I ran out of people to call. I don't have people to call for 2 hours. Okay, that's when you start cold calling. At that point, you get you Red X or something like that, and you start cold calling for business. But that's the formula for Power Hour, and it's done every single day. So when we partner that with the events, the gifting, because like I mentioned, we do client appreciation events too. The events, the gifting, the mailing, the calling, it creates that referral of business coming in. It keeps the pipeline full, and it's with people who you already have some type of relationship with. This can start with 2 people. Okay, take those 2 people out to dinner, stay in contact with them. When people know that you are trying to build a business, they want to help you. So I tell agents all the time, stop being this real estate untouchable model that you think that you have to be, and be a real and authentic person who's trying to build a business. people will really want to help you doing that. Building a great business takes great customer service. All right. So think about what makes you smile if a company does. If they send you a handwritten note card, like you're probably gonna smile because you haven't gotten one of those in so long. It does the same thing. So those are some tactics that work very well.
That's gold, man. That's some gold right there. I have a couple questions though. So with the little gifts you send, in bulk, like how often are you doing that? Like how often is a
Every single
client
month.
getting a gift from you?
Every
Sorry?
single month.
Every
Every
single
single
month.
month. First week of the month.
Okay, so every client is getting a gift a month, basically.
Every past client. So
Every
once
past
they've already
client, yeah.
closed with us, yeah, they get a
Wow.
gift.
Okay, that's amazing. I love the housewarming party too. That one's pretty cool.
Well, I know that this has happened for me a lot, right? I'd finish with a deal, or we're doing the final walkthrough, or we're at closing. A lot of clients already say, "Hey, we're going to invite you to our housewarming, or we'll let you know once we get settled. You have to come by and do that." So that's where that thought went. Like, why don't we just throw the housewarming party for them? You know, they're going to do it
Great idea.
anyway. We don't
Yeah.
charge them. We bring the food. We bring everything. The only thing that we don't bring is alcohol, but we bring everything else. And so that's how that came about. And you know, people they want to do that. Like they want to show
Yeah.
off their new house to their friends and stuff like that.
That's a great idea. I love that. Um, so you answered a couple of the other questions I wanted to ask already, but in regards to the actual sale itself, at the end of the day, besides, the relationship building, the nurturing of your relationships and all that, you have to execute and deliver on the service you're offering. So what are some of the things you do to differentiate your listings from competing listings in your area?
Yeah, so I mean, we're big into marketing. So you remember how I told you when I was coming up, I was holding open houses every single weekend. That's become a part of the business now. So something that we do is we guarantee that your house can be held open every single weekend until it closes. Um, and so I operate as a team now. I have team members. It's one of our guarantees when we take a listing. We also have something called a worry-free listing, and it's essentially like we have different commission tiers. There's a lot of people out there that think that they can just make it by going to one of these companies that will just put it on the MLS or whatever. So if they're willing to pay for that, why don't we offer it? So we started a worry-free listing program with clients, and it's not the first card that we pull out, trust me. But if it got down to that, it's like, okay, we are going to put you on this program. You can pay that 2% or you can pay that 3%, but here's what all you're going to get. Most times they don't want to do that because once they see the pamphlet, then they see that, oh, well, if I pay this 7% or 8%, y'all will do all that. I didn't know y'all were going to do all of that. So they end up going with the plan that's like 8%. Funny thing with that, again, the standard commissions around are like 6%. So now we're getting more than the normal agent or more than we normally would just because we entered into that discounted commission conversation. So that's something that we do up front. We do the guaranteed open houses. We also door knock neighborhoods, when everything comes on the market. We do events. We didn't do as many events last year. We all know why, but we will do events actually at the homes. And then there's social media. So nowadays, everybody's on social media. Everybody knows social media. Having a following 100% helps. It 100% helps. And it doesn't have to be a huge following, but you just need to have a presence. You need to have a presence on all of the major social media networks. So especially Facebook, and I would say Instagram, because homeowners are looking that up now. Okay? Something that we share with them, we share analytics. So once we put their home out there, we share that information that, hey, this is how this post performed. This is what this one did. We get them really involved. A lot of agents, they'll just print out the MLS sheets, right? And put them in the house. No, every single house gets a binder. Okay? We put a for sale binder in that house along with professional brochures. I mean, there are these big full color brochures that every homeowner gets. At the end of the day, no matter how quickly the home sells, because homes have been selling very quickly here in my market. I want them to know that everything we did justifies the amount that they paid us. So we don't cut corners. Even if I know that it's going to sell quickly, we're going to start all of our process and all of our marketing and stuff weeks before we even put it on the market, because I want them to see that. Like, I want them to see that work that we're putting in, because I don't want at the end of the day that client to say, oh yeah, they put it on, it sold immediately, they didn't really have to do anything. No,
Yeah.
we worked the whole time.
Love it, love it. Thanks for sharing that. Do you do any like paid ads on Facebook or Instagram, anything like that?
We do paid ads, but I don't do property specific paid ads. So
Okay.
all of our ads go through funnels. So they're pointing to a specific funnel. So let's just say that we had a listing that was coming in a certain neighborhood or a certain area. We will set up a landing page for just any homes in that area. So, get a list of homes coming soon in such and such neighborhood. We
Right.
use that as leverage with our clients when we're going in to close on the listing appointment, because we can kind of show them a full-on list of people that are essentially already looking for a home just like theirs. We're going to blast this out. Doing that has allowed us to build a pretty big database of just people. Some people, they're just looky loos. I believe everybody has a purpose, but that having that database of people from those ads definitely helps out. Early back in the day, I would do the same thing, but I would do it on Craigslist, and it was free, and I would generate massive buyer lists through Craigslist. But yeah, we do paid ads if it's necessary. I'll tell you, a lot of things have changed in my home market now, just because of how quickly our market is moving. So we haven't had to do a lot of the stuff that we've had to do when the market wasn't moving fast.
Yeah, makes sense.
Thankfully, but it's still in our book of tools that we have here.
Very good. Amazing. So you close, I guess you and your team close to on pace for, call it 150 deals this year. I'm sure every deal is different, of course. Do you have any examples of a deal that, didn't go as planned, or, how you overcame sort of that obstacle? Any stories? Anything come to mind?
I'll tell you this one time, right? So I took a listing, and it was it was a very sticky situation, because the guy had divorced his, or it wasn't even a divorce, it was his baby mama, and she was living in the house. He wasn't living in the house, but he wanted to sell the house, and they had just had a child, but I guess he wasn't involved with the child, but it was his, whatever. So he wanted me to put this home, he wanted me to sell this home without anyone knowing, without even the baby mama living in it. And he made a very compelling case, like, it's not her, she doesn't have the right to, essentially, once I, and I'm gonna tell you this, I found this out at the end. He was just trying to get her out of the house. I don't even think he wanted to sell the house. He just wanted to kick her out, but he didn't have the heart to, or he didn't want to. But anyway, so I couldn't put a sign in the yard. I couldn't put it on MLS. I couldn't even get in there to take pictures or anything. Okay, all I had was a picture of the front of the house from when I drove by one time. Um, and so what I did, because we have these lists, I literally just started calling to see if somebody would be interested in this house that they couldn't see, they couldn't walk through. We couldn't really do. I mean, it was just very unconventional. But guess what? I found a buyer, and they were a cash buyer, and they were willing to buy the house, the sight unseen, all this kind of stuff. Great. We go under contract. It's going to be a very quick close. Well, no, not even a quick close, just like a normal month or so. But It was a cash transaction, so it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't all that like red tape with the mortgage and stuff. Get down to closing, right? I was representing the sellers and the buyers. I had to keep this a secret. I couldn't even get another agent involved. Um, so my buyers, they had went and signed, and they were ready to go. And then I'm on the way to the title company now later in the day to go meet the seller there for the seller to sign. And I'm calling him, making sure he's on the way. He's not answering the phone. He's not calling me back. Nothing like that. So now I'm in like the parking lot of the title company waiting on him. He finally calls me, and no, he didn't even call me. He sent me a text message. He sent me a text message saying, "I'm not coming to closing. I don't care what happens." And I'm like, dude, are you freaking kidding? Like, I'm exploding. Now these other people have purchased this house. They've closed on expecting to have a house at the end of the day. And I'm like, I am gonna get my ball suit off. Like this is very bad, you know. And he didn't come. He didn't show up. So I had to call these buyers who had already closed and tell them that the seller is not closing. By the grace of God, they were okay with. They were like, "Well, I know that we did this quickly, and you just called us out of the blue about this property. We were just gonna buy it and see what came of it, but don't worry, there'll be others." And I was like, "Are
Oh
you
my
like
God.
literally this saved my because they could have easily like blown up, um,
Yeah.
took us all to court, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was and
Wow.
it sucked for me because I was expecting to get paid at the end of the day, and here
Oh
I
my
am
God.
a $4,000, $5,000 check is not coming now. You know?
Man,
Yeah.
I ask that question all the time, and that is by far the best story I've heard. Got lucky, yeah. That's a
Oh, it
good
was
one.
pure luck. Oh my gosh.
Oh man,
I still
that's
didn't
good.
get paid from it, but luckily we're still here to talk about it.
Yeah, that's a funny story. Um, so, Jason, I do want to be mindful of your time. Last question I have here. You already gave so many amazing insights already, but if you had to drill it down to just one, if you had to give just one piece of advice to any agent that's looking to step up their game, like what would that piece of advice be?
I mean, it sounds simple, but it would be to grow your network as big as possible. Whatever that means, whatever you have to do. Um, I was doing any and everything to the point where I literally released a guide that's called 50 Ways to Lead Generate, right? I put it all out on my YouTube channel and stuff. But everything in that PDF, I actually did just because I was trying to build the biggest list. It's almost like building an email list or building whatever. Like the more people you have, the more that'll come out of it. If you only have a network of 100 people, then your conversion rate is going to be a lot smaller. Like you may have one or two people out of that. But if you can create that thousands, okay, you will always have business. Okay, you will always have people you can call, similar to what I did, like pulled out a buyer just by going down the list of people who I had in my database. And keep in mind, I didn't know any of those people. So I did open houses every single weekend. I was posting ads in Craigslist. I was standing outside of apartment complexes. I was going to networking events. I was sending postcards. I was calling for sale by owners and expires. I was putting up those yellow bandit signs at corners. When I tell you anything to get someone's information, I was doing it. And I found that the magic is in creating the biggest list you can do. If you've tapped out your cell phone, okay, hop on Facebook. Once you go through all your 5,000 Facebook friends, okay, hop on LinkedIn. Once you go through all those people, now start door knocking. But build that list as big as possible because you will always be able to pull money from it.
Yeah, love it, love it. Amazing. I end off each conversation with what I call the top three. Just three quick and easy questions here. You ready?
All
All
right,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Number one, the most impactful book you've read.
Um, can I use profanity on here? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, the most impactful book was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a
Got
Fuck.
it.
It was
Yeah.
it was for me. I
Okay.
needed.
Awesome. Number two, your favorite vacation spot.
Cabo. I love that place.
Nice. Were you there recently or?
Yeah, I've been a few times this past year, but yeah, I was most recently there like 2 weeks ago.
Nice. Um, and lastly, if you can go back, what's the one thing you wish you knew when you were just starting out in real estate?
Dude, I told you I wrote a whole book on this. um, yeah, one thing would I probably wish I would have known was, just kind of the value of people, and not going back to what I was saying about like the list, but even like customer service and taking care of people, because I was very much so that like next deal, next deal, next deal, next deal, wasn't calling people back, wasn't following up, wasn't, it was always on the next, the next, the next. And I realized my customer service sucked. Nobody was sending me referrals, none of that. So I realized that if you take really good care and put value on people better than just the deal, it'll take you a lot further, quicker, you know.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Um, Jason, man, thank you so much. I'm so glad we're able to connect. I know so many people listening to this are going to get a ton of insights, amazing value. So I really do appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.